I'm Melinda Baderman, and this is Spencer Baderman. Spencer has acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He was diagnosed December 31st of 2006. Before we ever heard of cancer, we were actually living in the Ronald McDonald House. My other son had to have a heart transplant, and we'd been living at the Ronald McDonald House for a few months while we were waiting for a new heart to come in. And it's the first time we ever had contact with cancer. I'd never seen a child with cancer. I mean, you see the commercials on TV and such, but as we were living there, the majority of the people at the house had cancer, the majority of the children, and so my kids would run around and play with these kids, and we were waiting for a heart, and I was talking to a mom with a child with cancer and thinking that it was so much harder than what we were going through because it's such an unknown. These kids lose their hair, and the treatment that they go through is just really hard on their bodies. And we got our heart in September of 2006, September 1st, and then we got to come home December 10th. We were home for 20 days, and Spencer was diagnosed, well, Spencer got sick, and we went into the hospital. He had broken his leg while we were in California. We had to go into the hospital and have it looked at. They thought it was an infection in his bone, and they went in and did a biopsy of the bone, and behind the bone was a tumor that was 98%, or a giant tumor. His blood was already 98% leukemic. So they started treatment immediately. We'd only been home for 20 days from a heart transplant. It was just the most shocking thing that we ever thought could have happened. We started treatment, and Spencer was in the hospital for the first week, going through getting his port placed and starting his chemotherapy, and I couldn't stop crying. I thought it was awful. We had already been through so much, and it was just gut-wrenching to watch your child go through this. And as I sat there just crying and thinking how awful it was, Spencer looked at me and said, "Mom, I'm just sick. I'm gonna get better." And those words have just kept me going through this and getting us through cancer for the last 3 years. But treatment for cancer it's awful. The first 3 months of treatment is the hardest. It's when you lose your hair and you gain all the weight from steroids. And with Spencer, he wasn't able to walk for the first 3 months, and they didn't know if and when he would be able to walk. And he still got himself around the house, and just his resilience was amazing. Watching him crab walk through the house to pick up toys and telling me, "I can do it myself, I don't need your help." And it was just amazing to watch. He has gone through treatment really, really well. It's been hard. There's been days and months that he's missed of school. We got involved with Team in Training this year with the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. When we first found out that Spencer had cancer, we had no idea what cancer was, what cancer meant, how it would impact our life. I mean, of course you hear things on TV about, you know, other people with cancer, but you don't ever expect it to hit you. And when we found out that Spencer had cancer, there was so much support, and the doctors and the studies that they were doing, everything helped us get through the initial stages. They had books that we could read, and they actually gave Spencer a book about leukemia from a child's viewpoint that was just amazing. It was a day by day, this is what's going to happen to you book. And I know that Leukemia Lymphoma Society helps provide those materials and helps provide the research for the new medications. And I also know that 15 years ago, my son would not have had the chance that he has now for survival. He has an 85% chance to beat this, and to go on living an almost perfectly normal life. 15 years ago, that wasn't the norm. When you get involved and help and put yourself out there to raise money and join this wonderful, wonderful group of people, you learn a lot about cancer, but you also learn a lot about yourself and about how you impact other people and how you can help with a disease that is awful. Cancer doesn't care what size you are, it doesn't care what age you are, it doesn't care what color you are. It hits everyone, and it's a horrible, horrible disease. And if we get out there and raise the money and walk and let people know what cancer is and what they can do about it, we can find the cure. We can cure cancer. We can abolish blood cancer, which would just be amazing. Huh.